Welcome back to the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we're going to be talking about Scarlet and Violet, specifically the Scarlet and Violet that we did not see. Every time there's a game being developed, like not just with Pokemon, but any game ever, there's going to be ideas that are proposed and they just, end up not happening, whether it be because they decide to do something else, or they just decide it wasn't a good idea, or maybe even they didn't even have the mechanics to make this happen in the game. It's with every video game this happens. We have whole lists of Pokemon that have been cut over the years of the Pokemon franchise, so it's no surprise. Now, with Scarlet and Violet, it's no different. Of course, there's stuff that was going to be in the game and was scrapped. Now, there's kind of different tiers to this, though. There's some stuff that exists in the data for Scarlet and Violet, which, that means that's pretty concrete stuff that this definitely was going to happen. Then there's stuff in the data for Home that suggests that, hey, maybe this could be something for the future, but it's probably cut content. And then, interestingly enough, with Scarlet and Violet, we differ a little bit in that there was a big leaker who leaked pictures of Scarlet and Violet during Scarlet and Violet's marketing cycle. Like, he revealed Palmet and Farigiraf and Glamora all before these Pokemon were officially revealed. So, he also talked about the game, and there's some stuff that he said would be in the game that either didn't happen, or he said, well, it's no longer happening. And then also we do have another leaker that has implied some stuff as well. So again, that's more shady, more skeptical, a little bit speculative, but we're going to cover it all, starting with the concrete stuff, and that is the stuff that exists in Scarlet and Violet's data. Big thing here is really only one thing, but it is a huge thing, and that is these Convergent forms. So in these games, we got introduced to like a new Pokemon in Convergent forms, and what these are is they are basically Convergent Pokemon, like the real world Convergent species. They're Convergent species in Pokemon. We have Wiglet and Toedscool, where they look almost exactly like Diglett and Tentacool, like close enough to where they could be considered like a regional form just based off appearance. But they're not a regional form, they're actually a brand new Pokemon. And the reason this is because with regional variants, the Pokemon still stays within that same family. Like Diglett being Cantonian Diglett and Alolan Diglett, they're both moles. However, Wiglet is an eel, which is a type of fish, so completely different species from Diglett. Tentacool, same thing, goes from a jellyfish to a mushroom. Completely different kingdom even there. So that's what we're talking about here, and we do have a detail on one. It's pretty widespread knowledge, and that is Magikarp. If you look at the data for the game, they have, the way they do these Pokemon is their coding isn't their name. So, for example, Oshawott Japanese name is Mizumaru. Its code name is not Mizumaru. It's not Oshawott either. It's something else entirely, usually just a basic description of this Pokemon. Like, for example, I remember that Yampers was just simply dog. That was it. It was just dog. And it specifically is like dog 1 and then dog 2 for Bolton. So, you can kind of look at this with these Pokemon, and you'll see that with the Diglett line, or the Wiglet line rather, they have this Japanese word and then Diglett, and then a Japanese word and Dugtrio. However, with Tentacool, this is not the case, or Toedscool rather, this is not the case. With Toedscool, it is the Japanese word and then Magikarp. And Toedscool, it's the Japanese word and then Gyarados. So this seemingly implies that Tentacool and Tentacruel were not going to get a Convergent form. Originally, this was going to be a Convergent form to Magikarp and Gyarados. Now, there's a lot of speculation on this. Some people hope we'll see it in Scarlet and Violet DLC. I'm going to be honest, I'm not so hopeful. And some people even think that maybe this was originally Orthworm, was supposed to be a Gyarados Convergent, but just over time got changed to be a totally different thing. They went a different route. This is further backed up by the fact that Diglett and Wiglet both exist in Paldea. However, Tentacool isn't in Paldea, it's just Toedscool. So it seems Toedscool was a last-minute addition to these games, and that originally it was supposed to be a Magikarp and Gyarados fake, which is a great question of the day. Do you like Toedscool, or would you have preferred this? I feel like most of you would have preferred a fake to Gyarados, but I gotta say, I do really like Toedscool, and if they scrapped it, I trust their judgment. I bet they scrapped it for a good reason. Now we move out of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and into Pokemon Home. Pokemon Home, with its recent update where it's compatible with Scarlet and Violet, has some data that seems to suggest some stuff about these games. So first off, it has the Mousehold family with 2 gender variants. Like, there's basically these forms in there where you can see that there was originally a Mousehold that could be male and a Mousehold that could be female. This actually really isn't that important. That Mousehold was supposed to have 2 different genders. It's not really that hard to believe. I mean, it's not a, like man-made and artificial Pokemon. It is a family of animals. So I can see how, it probably at some point in development was male and female. But then the issue is, if it's a family, it's supposed to, so I get why they changed this to just be, Mousehold just have no gender. But it's interesting that it had a gender in the beginning, and perhaps maybe this was even the deal with the 3 family and 4 family from the beginning. Maybe a male evolved into a 4 family, but then a female evolved into a 3 family. Maybe that's how it worked before. I have no idea. The more interesting thing is we can see that there is an alternate form of Spidops. Now, of course, for these forms, we don't have pictures of it. We just literally see in data that it existed. Now, with this Spidops form, a lot of people speculate that perhaps this is actually indicative of a Spidops form that will be coming in DLC, but some people believe that it's a Spidops form that existed in Scarlet and Violet's development and was scrapped. Now, whether or not we'll see this return in DLC, obviously, we'll have to wait till DLC to find out. But it is interesting that Spidops was going to get something special. It definitely deserved it, to be honest, because Lokix is the first bug dart type. It's very, very cool. Slitherwing is a paradox, so it's special in that regard. Rabsca is special in the sense that it gets Revival Blessing. Only it and Pommet get that, and that's a move that literally revives your Pokemon. And then there's Spidops. And yeah, Spidops has a signature move, but its stats are abysmal. It's the worst regional bug we've gotten since Kricketune. So it's kind of neat to think that Spidops originally had something alternative. Maybe this would have made it a lot better. Hopefully we do see it in the future, because again, Spidops needs something. It's not cutting it right now, as is. Now we get into stuff that we were told by leakers. So first off, we have the leaker during Scarlet and Violet's development that actually leaked pictures of the game. He said that there would be a Murkrow evolution. This obviously did not happen. Now, there's some confusion around this. Some people think, it's not concrete what happened here. Some people think that there was a Murkrow evolution and it was scrapped. Simple enough. Some people think that there was a Murkrow Paradox and that was scrapped. And this actually would kind of make sense when you think about it, because Mischievous did get a Paradox Pokemon equivalent to it in Fluttermane. So it would have made sense for them to give Murkrow this, since Murkrow and Mischievous have kind of always been version exclusives and, even gotten evolution alongside each other. So it does make sense that they would have gotten a Paradox alongside each other. However, like I said, this is not the case. We have Murkrow getting something, but we don't know. And some people even think that maybe Murkrow got nothing, and that originally just the leaker saw the Pokemon Bombardier and decided that that was probably a Murkrow evolution, but obviously it wasn't. Furthermore, this leaker did also say that there would be a gift Pokemon for a Hisuiamon in the game. Now, this didn't happen unless you count the Zoroark mystery gift that you can get from pre-ordering DLC. Maybe that was originally supposed to be just a gift in the game. But this is actually really interesting to me because, who gave you a Hisui Pokemon? How did they have that? I think that's super neat. And if this isn't the Zoroark mystery gift, but is something else, I do think we could see that pop up down the road. Perhaps even in Kitakami, which might have a lot more Hisui ties than you may think. Now, lastly, we get super speculative, and this is around Walking Wake and Iron Leaves. It is believed by many that Walking Wake and Iron Leaves actually had a role in the initial story of the games. It was stated at one point by both leakers that there was going to be Walking Wake and Iron Leaves in the base game, and then at one point the leaker said, oh, you know, this has actually been scrapped. It's probably being saved for DLC now. So, what role did Walking Wake and Iron Leaves initially had? And for the record, this is actually very believable when you factor in that they were teased in the book already from the beginning. I think it's very possible that initially Walking Wake and Iron Leaves took the place of Koraidon and Miraidon. And now, hear me out, I don't mean the Koraidon or Miraidon that you travel with in Scarlet and Violet, but I mean the alpha one that kind of bullies yours. I think that perhaps they initially would have had this role as this antagonistic Pokemon. But yeah, let me know what you think of all these, and let me know what you think about Walking Wake and Iron Leaves originally being that mean Koraidon and Miraidon. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss our future videos. And until next time, I'll see all of you later.